Hello everyone, we're Olli, Sotamaa and Heikki, Tyni, and we come from Tampere University. While data-driven game development methods have become mainstream, we still have fairly little academic studies about the everyday data practices of game makers. The focus of our presentation is on game making related data practices and the practitioners' motivations and challenges associated with them. This study is part of the Finnish Strategic Research Council funded project Intimacy in Data-Driven Culture, IDA. This project analyzes the impact of datafication on social roles and relations, as well as the vulnerabilities that it gives rise to. The study is also informed by prior game production studies related research conducted in the Center of Excellence in Game Culture Studies at Tampere University. Finally, this is very much an ongoing study. First phase is based on an ongoing online survey, and next year we will continue with interviews. We have begun with Finnish game makers, since this is the scene we know, but we're open to opportunities to scale the project and to make comparisons to other places. Our study contributes to the emerging field of game production studies and is inspired by the anthology that will be out in the early 2021. We draw from critical approaches to data-driven game development, for example, Jen Whitten's work here. At the same time, we're also inspired by empirical works on everyday experiences of datafication. And this is, of course, happening in many fields, not only in games. Many recent developments in game making and game industry have center-staged data-driven game development strategies. This transformation seems not only to be about game design, but also about changing workplace practices and the self-understanding of creative practitioners. Both the responsibilities of individual developers and the very life cycle of game production is in transition. And data-intensive processes seem to be in the heart of it. And now I will hand it to Heikki, who will tell you more about the details of our study.
Yes, thank you. Our study consists of selected early results from an online survey conducted among Finnish game developers. We're interested in how studios organize their data collecting and analyzing processes. At the same time, we also want to explore how data-intensive development practices affect the practitioner's everyday work life. In the following few slides, we quickly highlight some of the early results from the study. The first observations are related to the studio size. Large studios have more established processes and specialized experts. As a consequence, not everyone in these companies needs to understand data in detail. In comparison, if a small company wants to take data-intensive development seriously, then pretty much everyone needs to have a good understanding of analytics. Larger studios also have an option to consult data analytics companies, whereas smaller ones rarely can afford this. Regardless of the different roles and responsibilities, pretty much everyone feels that collected data has an influence on their personal work tasks. Data is central in communicating how the project is advancing. Data and analytics are also needed to appear professional and to keep one's shop talk up to date. Some respondents are quite comfortable with data-driven approaches, while others seem to hope that game development would not rely so much on data. Finally, we also asked how game makers feel about the third-party services integrated into their games. And it seems that that respondents are somewhat divided on how much they trust them to only collect the data they claim to collect. And this is one of the things we want to know a bit more about once the project moves on. The section about responsible design also included some interesting early findings. It's not simple to analyze data, and algorithms can also produce faulty data. This can be connected to the fact that there seems to be too little time to analyze the collected data. There are also unethical ways to use data and monetization design patterns that need to be avoided. Informants had different ideas on how much significance the consent provided by players actually has. Respondents report using quite a variety of tools. Despite this, there still seems to be a lot of room for interpretation. There's a quote, it is difficult to utilize data when 3 different service providers show different numbers about the same issue, and the 4th one has a bug that needs a workaround. It was something of a eureka moment to understand that even simple things like day 1 retention are ambiguous, as one service says one thing and the other service another thing. As the quote here highlights, different tools can provide different numbers, and at the end of the day, the decisions we believe are based on data are at least partly based on hunch and intuition. Acceptability of user acquisition is one thing that clearly divides opinions. At the same time, as this quote from one of the informants suggests, it is difficult to escape from this theme. So whatever individual studios and employees think about ethics of data and monetization does not matter. In the current bidding-based user acquisition ecosystem, the games that bid high will get all the players, and the games that can only bid low are dead in the water. In other words, while whale monetization is the dominant business strategy and our competitors use it, it is impossible for us to survive in the user acquisition market without doing it ourselves. If changes to the system are required, they must come from the platforms and/or the legislators. Even the most progressive design principles are in danger as long as the processes of user acquisition remain as is. So, by connecting original empirical research of data analytics to recent discussions about precariousness of video game development, this study aims to show how creativity, sustainability, and vulnerability are renegotiated in the data-driven workplace. What we already know is that the focus of data analytics seems to vary significantly between the phase of the project, distribution platform, studio size, and so on.
So in the current phase of the study, we mostly have ideas of what to do next. It's, for example, clear that observations from selected development teams could teach us more about how the everyday data-informed decisions are actually made. In addition to this, we're interested in understanding data analytics companies a bit better. They seem to be at the heart of many current developments in digital work in general and game making in particular. So thank you, everyone. Kiitos. This is what we've got to say at this point. And we're eager to hear your ideas of how we should proceed from here.